Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike the intern, Ned Reynolds in the studio. It's Wednesday and some interesting moves towards the end of cut day yesterday. I am kind of curious about the pickup of a tight end. Your thoughts on the final roster, sir?
They echo my thoughts exactly.
I was just kind of puzzled.
A tight end and a guy from the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll talk about that Peyton Henders shot. I don't understand that at all unless there's something going on that we don't know about.
The only read I can get on the guy is that he's supposedly a really highly graded pass blocker. So I'm assuming that this might be a Dave Tope call. Like, hey, he's not going to play anywhere else. This guy could be a really good special teams ad. That's the only thing that I can think of because, I mean, he's already got Noah Gray. He's already got Jared Wiley. Why in the heck would you want it other than a special teamsman? That has to be it.
Well, it's depth, regardless of any way you look at it. When they let go of Kadarius Toney, that was hardly a headline surprise, folks.
Yeah,
when the Chiefs picked up Juju Smith-Schuster the other day, the handwriting's on the wall. Some wide receiver had to go, and there's only one who was a number one draft choice and who cost you a lot of money, and that's Kadarius Toney. Not by the Chiefs, by the New York Giants. He was a number one draft choice. But over and above that, he is out of there. He didn't make the team. But Smith-Schuster is going to be there. Justin Ross was another one who got sliced, but then again, you've got a glut of wide receivers, all of whom are very good. The one that did surprise me a little bit was Chris Odelukin. I thought he might make the team as a third-string quarterback, did not. He got cut, so the Chiefs will go with two, but they may put Odelukin in the taxi squad, and that would certainly help. The rugby player, Louis Rees-Zammit, he got cut from the team. Not a surprise. His football acumen is very low because he's a rugby player.
First time he ever played.
But he runs the ball well and could have learned. Carson Steele did make the team.
Oh, hell yeah.
He has the long, flowing blonde hair from Ball State actually UCLA in his final year, but that's a big deal. As Mike just mentioned, the Chiefs did pick up Peyton Hendershot, a tight end, Indiana University, and a big guy. He's 6'4" and about 240, 250, somewhere in that vicinity, and a very good pass blocker. Played well at Indiana, made a name for himself in the Big Ten, and with the Dallas Cowboys. He's been with them since 2022, so a trade was made for a seventh-round draft pick. And then Cameron Thomas, who we mentioned yesterday, a pass rushing defensive end picked up in a trade with the Arizona Cardinals. That one does surprise me. Again, it's depth, because I think the Chiefs worry a little bit about some of the older players, like Chris Jones, for instance, who has that lingering groin injury. He's had that for years. It's nothing new. But when is it going to go kaput? Well, you never know, so
Probably
you better
not.
have some DEs in there. Anyway, that was it yesterday, and now the Chiefs are all set.
And it really is sad because we don't get a mini-hoop back until probably mid-November. So, yeah, depth, absolutely right. We'll see. Any surprises at the U.S. Open so far?
There was a surprise in the 11th seed among the men. Stefanos Tsitsipas got knocked out in the first round of the competition. That's a surprise. But Naomi Osaka, who made a big name for herself several years ago as a teenager coming up, and really the forerunner of a new vanguard, so to speak, of young girls tennis players, got her first pro win in 4 years, and that's a big deal for her. Number one seed, Iga Swiatek from Poland, did get a win. So did the men's number one seed, Yannick Sinner, the kid from Italy, number one in the world, and the top seed. But he lost his first set, and that was a big surprise. Same with Carlos Alcaraz, the teen, actually he's now 20 years old, but the young sensation from Spain, he lost his first set, but then came back to win the next three. But the biggest story of all coming from the U.S. Open is a 5-hour, 35-minute match, which is the longest in U.S. Open history. It was played yesterday. Dan Evans and Karen Khachanov played it. Khachanov is seeded 23rd. 5 hours and 35 minutes on the court in the heat of New York City. Dan Evans, 34-year-old veteran from Great Britain. It's supposed to be his final match. He's going to retire. He won the thing. He was exhausted at the end of it. Couldn't even speak. But he did get the victory. That was the big story.
Last but not least, there is a guy who just keeps setting records, and saw him in action in the Olympics, and he's something else. I mean, who would have thought pole vaulting would be cool again?
It is, and the guy has broken the world record 10 times this year.
It's unbelievable.
In the Olympics, he has, he's from this guy. He's from Louisiana. He is from South Louisiana. His name is Armand Duplantis, but he is from Louisiana, but he vaults for Sweden. His mother is from Sweden, so he's decided to declare that country as his primary focus as far as going for a...
The way I understand it is the reason he did that is because they were the only country that would allow him to be coached by his parents.
That's coached by his father.
Yeah, and so I mean, what do you, Team USA? What the hell are you guys doing? Why wouldn't they let him?
Who knows?
It's crazy.
Who knows how hierarchy operates in this country? I am so absolutely mystified at decisions that are made by the smart people
on committees. Anyway, whenever they brought that up during the Olympics, and I'm just like, God, we could have had this kid on our team, and the only reason we don't is because you didn't want his parents to coach him. What the hell is that about? Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Anyway, Duplantis has set another world record. He did it in a meet over in Europe. Believe it was in Belgium, if I'm not mistaken, but he set another world record, 20 feet 5 inches. That's really soaring, folks. When you consider that the unbreakable mark was 15 feet earlier in this century. Anyway, it is Armand Duplantis, and he is a big deal. An American who vaults for Sweden. All right, folks, we just figured out the sociological aspect.
As I sit here, I've got a smile on my face because the Kansas City Royals are tied for first in their division.
And we're going to talk about that coming up in a second, too, because that's a very big deal. A dead tie with the Cleveland Guardians.
And play at noon today, which is going to be a hell of a game.
Somebody's going to come out on number one.
I know. Either way. So let's talk about the Cardinals.
The incident, Royals won last night 6-1. Game delayed for about 2.5, 3 hours.
Is that what it ended up being?
It was. Came back, and Paul DeJong had a big game, 2 RBIs in this one, including a home run to lead off the game. You knew things were going to go well. Royals are really playing at the top of their game right now, tied for first place. Now, they've got a long way to go, folks. Play the Guardians today. Then later on, they have the Guardians come back and play in Kansas City. Then the Royals have to go to New York, play the Yankees. There's a long way to go.
Yes, sir.
But they're playing very well. Cardinals are not. St. Louis had more than enough opportunities against the San Diego Padres last night. Couldn't pull it through. 5-4 lead. Suddenly San Diego with some really solid hitting. They've got good hitters on this team. Mike Schilt has done a great job. They play to contact, Mike, and you have to understand in baseball, that's Schilt's modus operandi. Play to contact. Don't necessarily hit the long ball. They can do that. Manny Machado had another home run last night. But the fact is, they play to contact, score those runs, get those runners on base. Padres won last night 7-5. Cardinals are now 2 games under 500, 10.5 out of first place, and really not playing very well. Springbirds lost last night in Wichita. Wichita Wind Surge beat them by a score of 4-3 was the final, but that won't slow up the Springfield Cardinals any. They're on their way to the playoffs.
So, we've had some back and forth when it comes to different sports, more specifically baseball recently, and certain TV streaming companies, agreements, non-agreements, and you got satellite. They don't have agreements with certain channels. It just seems to happen every single year. What's the new one?
Doesn't seem to happen. It does happen every single year. This is kind of a circus in a way. It happened here in town. We've seen it happen, and over protracted periods of time, too, it's happened where I'm not going to pay that amount of money, and so you don't have certain programs on there. That's the fallacy of having the TV systems the way we have it now. This one, however, may be a little bit more impacting. Now, I'm going to preface the story here by saying I don't think this will take place. That's because too many people will be affected by it. But Disney owns ESPN, folks. They own the 4-letter network. But the 4-letter network also has much of its programming on DirecTV. Now, I think DirecTV, in all honesty, and I'm not dissing the company, but I think they faltered in their viewership in recent years. but they still have quite a few viewers. Those two can't come to a contractual agreement on who carries what and how much money is going to be involved and so forth and so on. Contract expires midnight Saturday night. Wait a minute. We've got pro football coming up. We have a college game, a big one on Sunday night. We have another big one on Monday night. Wait a minute. We're not going to... Yep, it's possible. ESPN could go dark on DirecTV, and that would involve... I can't give you a specific number, but it's estimated millions of viewers who still subscribe to that system. Going dark? You mean we won't see these games? There'll be such an uproar that I think they'll have to come to some kind of a conclusion. But the reason we're saying this, it is possible and it could happen. It's to that one system of those who have DirecTV. The others would get it fine. But that one is involved in that contractual dispute.
And just another excuse for Ned to go to the bar because he can't watch it at home.
Yes, it's and what a note of bravery that is on my part.
I think you just hooked everyone up with a great excuse to go out to the bar, Ned. You have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.